Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1. You will hear two students, Jack and Amy, discussing the details of the concerts that they are planning to hold. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Oh, hi, Jack. Thank you for coming to discuss the details of the concert. It's a real help.
No problem, Amy. I'm looking forward to throwing some ideas around. Shall we order coffee before we begin?
Yes, I'll have a cappuccino, please. Right. First on the agenda is deciding who the intended audience is, because we'll obviously have to base our choice of music on this.
Classical concerts are held all the time, but I'd really like to do something different and make it special. What do you think about holding it outside?
I like the idea, but the weather is too unpredictable. What if we host the concert for children? We could make it more lighthearted, and everyone could dress up in costume.
What a wonderful idea! We could host the event every afternoon so that children can attend after school. How much do you think we should charge?
I don't think we should charge more than $5 for the student tickets.
No, I think that $4 would be a fair price. We can charge adults a little bit more. I'd say that $6.50 is suitable.
Okay, great. That should hopefully cover the costs of running the event. The local press will be in attendance to take photographs to print in the newspaper, so we'll also need to organize a press tent.
It's all so exciting. There will also be a representative from the local radio station broadcasting live. They're predicting is that over 1,000 people will tune in to listen.
Now that we're agreed, let's move on to discuss our other more sophisticated concert, where we'll be hosting a number of well-known opera performers.
As the majority of people will be at work during the day, I suggest that the concert takes place in the late afternoon or evening. Which do you think?
I think we should definitely hold an evening concert. The darkness will make the entire performance more dramatic.
Yes, that will be fantastic. Let's host the event on Friday when everyone can wind down after finishing a week of work. It'll be a lovely start to the weekend.
As it will be a lavish and elegant event, I think we should set quite a high entrance fee of around $40. It'll give us some extra money to spend on decorations.
That sounds fair. Instead of using chandeliers and electric lights, we should decorate the marquee with candles instead. It would be so romantic.
Okay, perfect.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Now, moving on to the concert where we showcase talented opera singers from the local area. Perhaps we should host this opera show on Monday evening?
I think that the venue is already booked on Monday, but Tuesday will do nicely. How much do you think we should charge the audience for tickets?
Since the performers are not professionals, perhaps we should make this a free event.
Yes, tickets will be free, but we should ask everyone for a donation so that we can cover the costs of the venue and food and drink.
The venue also comes complete with a piano, so hopefully one of the performers will be able to play. I had lessons when I was younger, but I'm not accomplished enough to perform in front of an audience.
Well, what if we make our final concert a karaoke night where everyone of any ability can sing on stage? It could be really good fun, and it would give everyone the opportunity to join in.
Yes, I love that idea. Let's hold it during the day on Saturday so that everyone, including families and the elderly, can attend.
Perhaps we should offer concessions for students, children, and the elderly to make the tickets more affordable and encourage everyone to come.
Yes, definitely. I think that the majority of the crowd will be composed of families and friendship groups, so we should avoid giving a group discount to maximize the income from ticket sales.
Let's arrange a secret surprise to end the show on a high for everyone. How about a band performance?
One of my friends happens to know a famous singer who I'm sure would be happy to perform for a small fee.
Oh wow, that sounds brilliant! Well, I think we've addressed the details for all of the concerts.
Thank you so much for helping. See you later.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear a radio program giving some advice about saving energy. First, you'll have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in to Action Radio, where we discuss current affairs and global issues. My name is Jill, and today I'll be discussing the very relevant issue of the importance of saving water and how you can do this at home. The most common type of wasted energy in the domestic environment is heat. However, since the walls of my home are very well insulated, I am lucky to have no issue with this. I've discovered, however, that I waste a lot of water as a result of my lifestyle. I've researched ways to minimize my water usage online and have been pleasantly surprised to find that there are specialists in the area who can make some changes to my home immediately. The only downside is that the works are quite expensive and there are no means of getting financial assistance. Now, if any of you listeners are interested in reducing your energy usage, here are a couple of easy and positive changes you can make immediately. A lot of the magazines will recommend that you change your bulbs for those with energy-saving capabilities. However, I have found that these make little difference to your electricity bills, and they also severely reduce the light levels in your home. Instead, simply switch off all plug sockets and appliances to make an immediate saving on your electricity consumption. If this doesn't make enough of a saving for you, you could later try turning down the thermostat as well. Despite the discount that my energy provider gave me for prompt payment, my monthly bills were very expensive for the amount of energy that I was using, so I decided to change providers. Not only did I make a huge monthly saving, but the company also offered me other perks. I am now able to pay my monthly bills online, for example, which I am thrilled about because it means that I no longer have to drive to the bank. Once I have been a customer with them for a year, they will also offer a deduction for all of the energy-saving appliances I use. Now, many of you will have an electricity meter at home, so I'm sure you'll all understand the issues associated with them. They occupy a lot of space in your home and can be unsightly if you're unable to tuck them away in a cupboard. Mine is quite large, as it measures both my gas and electricity, but I was luckily able to hide it in the coat cupboard where I can keep it hidden but also access it easily. Having said that, whenever I have to take a meter reading, I have to use a torch because the screen is too dark to read the numbers correctly. I have recently had an extension built on my house to make room for a new bathroom complete with a low-energy boiler so I can take long showers guilt-free. The walls are nice and thick and well insulated, but unfortunately the window is a little drafty, so I'm going to have to invest in upgrading it. Speaking of renewable energy, I initially considered installing solar panels on the roof instead of using a low-energy boiler, which was the less expensive option. In the end, I decided that the panels would look too ugly on my house, despite that they were technically easy to operate.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
Now, if you're a fan of taking long showers like I am, then switching from baths to showers will not help to reduce your water usage. Instead, here are some small but effective changes you can make. When making a cup of tea, for example, measure out the amount of water that you need before boiling it. And when brushing your teeth, use a cup of water instead of a running tap. I tried filling up my washing machine before switching it on, but I found that the clothes were not thoroughly cleaned, so I would not recommend this. If your tap drips when it is turned off, then you should call a plumber to fix it, as this can result in a lot of water being wasted. Before finishing today's show, I'd like to address two questions that we often get asked by listeners. We had some great feedback about our answer to last week's question on how to calculate the price involved in powering domestic appliances, so let's see how we do this week. One of our most commonly asked questions this week was which device is the lowest energy option for watching films. The simplest answer is that the smaller the screen, the lower the energy used. One of our listeners wrote in with a question that made me chuckle, and the answer is yes, solar panels only work when the sun is out. Now, on a more serious note, a number of you wanted to know what the most efficient temperature is to set the thermostat to. The answer is that the closer you set it to room temperature, the lower the energy used. Before I say goodbye until next week, I'll leave you with one last tip. Turn off the lights when you leave the room.
The end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You're going to hear two hosts of a TV program talking about taking notes from lectures. First, listen to the first part of the conversation and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hello everybody, and welcome once again to How to Study program on the Oxford TV Educational Channel. As usual, we are your hosts, Rick and
Rita. Okay, Rick, what's today's topic?
Note-Taking.
Right, note-taking. It's one of those things most of us students do, but has anyone ever told you how to do it so it can be the greatest help to you? If you had teachers like mine all of your life, probably not.
Same here. Rita and I thought of this topic a few weeks ago, did some research, and found that most students don't take or use notes in the best way.
Of course, different things work better for different people, but we did manage to come up with some useful basic principles.
But first, how do we know it helps? How do we know it isn't better to listen carefully to everything the lecturer says, rather than scribble away taking notes?
Well, we found that research on note-taking has been going on since this guy, Professor C.C. Crawford, began his studies in the 1920s.
But we don't have time to tell you all about the different studies that have been done. The important thing is that most researchers agree that taking notes is better than not taking notes, and that reviewing notes is the key to their usefulness.
Both are really important. For example, in 1970, Professor Howe concluded that students were 7 times more likely to recall information 1 week after it was presented if the information had been recorded in their notes. He argued that the note-writing activity per se makes a contribution to later retention. But another important thing is that you shouldn't take notes like a human tape recorder. Listen to this, and I quote, "There is growing evidence that note-taking combined with critical thinking facilitates retention and applications of the information."
As the conversation continues, please answer questions 26 to 30.
And putting information in different geometric figures, squares, triangles, rings, etc., like in computer programming, to stand for different functions and alternatives, improves this reorganization. Okay, now for some practical basics. You start, Rick.
1. Be prepared. Have your notebook open and pen in hand when class begins.
2. Listen for what the teacher emphasizes with words like to summarize. The main point is. And if something is written on the board, you should probably write it down.
And if something is repeated, it's probably important.
Don't try to write down every word, just the main ideas, content, and information.
And develop your own way of abbreviating words.
Go over your notes as soon as possible after class.
Underline or highlight main ideas, concepts, and information.
And last thing, reorganizing notes while reviewing leads to higher test scores.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You're going to hear a talk given to some parents of children with disabilities about a type of therapy. You now have some time to read questions 31 to 40.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our hospital's recreational therapy department. I'm Dr. Gillian Roberts, and I'm the department head. You all have children who have some form of disability, and your family physicians have recommended that they come here for treatment. Many people don't know very much about recreational therapy. It sounds rather like playing to get better. Well, in a way it is. But it's much more than this. So today I'll give you an overview of the basic principles and some common activities of this form of therapy. Please don't hesitate to interrupt me if you have any questions. Let me start by painting a picture in your minds. Imagine a young child with a disability and an adult splashing around, playing and laughing in a swimming pool. For the child, this happy scene is very different from the daily struggle of, for example, learning to walk without crutches. The adult is a recreational therapist. It's fun, but it's also work, and successful work as she sees the improvement in the child's balance, leg motion range, and lower body strength. Equally important, she sees that the child is slowly but surely gaining confidence. So this probably gives you an idea of what recreational therapy is all about. How about a definition? The American Therapeutic Recreation Association describes it as a healthcare and human service discipline that delivers treatment services designed to restore, remediate and/or rehabilitate functional capabilities for persons with injuries, chronic illnesses, and all types of disabling conditions. Well, that's quite a mouthful, but you can see that it covers a wide range of conditions and patients. At this hospital, we used to specialise in children under 12, while older people went to St James, very close to here. But we found that children can be encouraged by seeing adults doing similar things to what they're doing, and they also get very attached to their therapists. So now both hospitals treat both youngsters and adults, and we work very closely together, especially on research projects. OK, who are the therapists? Well, most of them are certified therapeutic recreation specialists, usually simply called recreational therapists. They're certified through the National Council for Therapeutic Recreation Certification, which requires a bachelor's degree or higher, a formal internship, and passing a certification examination. To maintain their certification, they must also participate regularly in professional education activities. Recreational therapists work in a wide range of clinical service areas, but they play an especially important role in the rehabilitation of children with disabling conditions. Their work with children includes such activities as physical play, focused on restoration or maintenance of functioning, and the one-on-one bedside play with a single child or small group activity. By the way, it seems that so far I've been talking about physical problems. In fact, our work also includes trying to help with psychological problems. For example, educational play focused on understanding upcoming surgery, dramatic or expressive play focused upon coping with fear and anxiety, and family or sibling play to help overcome such things as excessive shyness, hostility, and other emotional problems. What makes recreational therapy different from other forms of therapy? As the name suggests, it's the use of recreational activities as the mode of treatment. The treatment goals that a recreational therapist may work towards are similar to the goals of other disciplines on the rehabilitation team, but the way of achieving those goals is different. Also, the recreational therapist has a holistic perspective that includes the patient's leisure, social, cognitive, and physical needs. This means that a recreational therapist may work with a child on one or more of the following functional areas. Physical functioning. Things like mobility, strength, and motor skills. Cognitive functioning, such as attention span, memory, and problem solving. Emotional functioning. Things like self-esteem, confidence, and coping skills. Social functioning. How to communicate and interact with others. Sadly, sometimes we also have to help patients learn to manage pain. Other areas include developmental play skills, leisure interests and abilities. Well, that sounds more like something to do with recreation than the other things I just mentioned. As you can imagine, with all those different things that might need to be worked on, a recreational therapist may use a wide range of techniques to meet the needs of each child. After completing a comprehensive assessment, the recreational therapist identifies appropriate treatment goals and decides on the methods to be used. These methods might include leisure skill building, adaptive sports, aquatic therapy. I mentioned splashing around in a pool at the beginning of my talk, therapeutic art, and animal-assisted therapy. This is increasingly popular. It's wonderful how a friendly dog can do more than all the doctors in the world for some disabled kids.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.